Hey everyone, Hybrid Tour Reviews here with another episode of Hybrid's Con Tips. Today we're going to talk a little bit about what I like to get my autographs signed with. So this is a little bit of a debate between the Forever Sharpie permanent marker or the paint pen. Now I happen to be preferring Sharpie paint pens. However, there are other brands of paint pen that you can use. The big thing that matters is that they are oil-based. Now, oil-based as long as you're getting some sort of action figure where you're going to be getting your autograph on like the window of a figure or on the card back. If you're just getting like a table photo signed, you could go acrylic. Acrylic doesn't really stick to solid objects, but it kind of, like settles into the paper, whereas oil-based kind of etches onto a surface. So if you're getting an action figure signed, you always want to look for oil-based. Sometimes on different brands of paint pens, it is very hard to tell. Sharpie makes it really easy. Sharpie also makes some that are the same colors that say water-based, which is basically acrylic. So keep an eye out for that because they can get you. They'll be right next to each other on the shelf. They also have oil-based that come in green packages instead of purple with the same color sets. Sharpie is really trying to confuse you. As long as this is oil-based, you're good. There's varieties in tip sizes also, where these are medium. They're basically just your normal Sharpie marker tip. You can get fine, where they're a little bit thinner, and then they have super fine, which is like a pencil. I like fine or medium. I think they have a chisel tip. That's a little bit too bulky for my liking. I like medium or fine, not super fine, or the chisel ones. So you want to use an oil-based for anything that's going to be on plastic. Think this sonic screwdriver. That is an oil-based Sharpie lime green paint pen. Another brand that I really like, they do a lot of metallics, and I'm going to do a whole separate video on them, is Decocolor. Now, Decocolor makes acrylics and oil bases. However, these premium metallic ones are oil base. You can usually tell just by reading through what's on the back of the packaging, but you just kind of need to do your due diligence. There's a lot of paint pens on the shelf, like at Walmart, and the majority of them are acrylic. So, as I cannot stress enough, not acrylic. Oil-based, oil-based, oil-based. That is what you want from a paint pen if you're getting a autograph on a figure. I want to do a quick little comparison for you here. So here is an empty Black Series box that I've put the window back in. And let's go ahead and just use this blue paint pen out of this brand new pack. So you'll find right out of the pack, they're plastic wrapped, which is good. It keeps them nice and sealed inside of there. Inside of your paint pen, we're just going to prep it. There is a vat of paint, and there's a little mixer ball. You hear that rattling? Let's go ahead and prep. Okay, so once you have a bunch of mixing going on, you see on your paint pens, the tip kind of depresses in. That's dipping into the vat. However, it's only going to start doing anything when you depress it, with gravity facing downward. So I'm going to blot it on the back of the box here. It can take a lot of pressing. You don't want to do this when you're right at the celebrity in line. You want to wait until you're a few people back and start. You can start to see little blue shoots going down the tip. And there you go. There's even more. We are almost there. Now you see we're starting to leave little dots on the package, which is good. So we have this paint pen nice and saturated and ready for writing. So what we're going to do is we are going to try this blue paint pen, which I just prepped right on camera, and this Sharpie, which I picked up for the purposes of this video. So we're going to do Hybrid. There we go. In black Sharpie, right on the box. And then in blue, because I don't have a black Sharpie paint pen. So there we go. Now, if you had just gotten this signed at a convention and you had a protector, think back to last week's video, the Sharpie could go straight into the protector right now. But the paint pen, you have to actually let this dry a little bit. It doesn't take long, just takes a couple minutes. But that is something to think of. However, I just want to look at the quality of the pen marks here. The Sharpie, you can kind of see through. I'm saying Sharpie as if they're not both Sharpie branded. The marker, you can kind of see through it in places. And you know what? It's a fresh black Sharpie, and it is, ready, to be used. I've noticed that after a celebrity uses one at the table for a few signatures, it starts to get really streaky. The paint pens can get that way if they're not regularly blotting. If you bring your own, you make sure that it's freshly blotted when you give it to the guy, and you know that you're getting a good autograph. I think objectively the paint pen looks better. Plus you have a higher variety of colors. We're getting into personal preference a little bit here, but I just want to show you some examples of how these have aged a little bit. So I'm going to set my Black Series box off to the side, and I'm going to show you my very first ever autograph. This is from Florida SuperCon 2017. I went to meet Peter Capaldi. At the time, he was the current Doctor Who, and I got this 12th Doctor Sonic Screwdriver signed. And while I'm really happy with the autograph, and he wrote me all this nice stuff on it, you can see through it. It's streaky. It's not the best quality, of a marker. I'm going to tip that back. And you step back a little bit. Thanks, dude. You step back a little bit, and it just looks faded. And I think in person, the day of, it looked better. I think the Sharpies just fade over time. Whereas this, well, not as old. This is about a year old. This is a Matt Smith Sonic Screwdriver signed in green paint pen. Here's a Jodie Whittaker Sonic Screwdriver signed in orange paint pen. These are all Sharpie brand products. And these two just jump at you more on the shelf than that does. And it's not bad, but I just, I don't know. I look at these, and even though this is my favorite one, I consider it lesser. Here is a signed Azula Funko Pop from Avatar: The Last Airbender. I didn't bring a paint pen that day. All she had was black Sharpie at her table. And you can just barely see the quote. Now, of course, there's black hair behind that, but you can see through, the Great Alile's signature there. Whereas here, if I bring in my Ty Lee one in pink paint pen, I mean, this just stands out more, as opposed to a Sharpie. And if she had used a red Sharpie, it would still not be bold. That's the appeal of a paint pen autograph. It's bold. It jumps out at you. And that's kind of where I'm at on this. Is I think for some of these autographs, you're spending big money, right? Like I think it was $60 or $80 to meet Great Alile, and this is what I got. And when I met Olivia Hack, who plays Ty Lee, hers I think was $50. I mean, I spent less and I got the better result. And it's kind of like a due diligence thing, right? If I'd have known better, I'd have brought a red paint pen that day and gotten it done right. Whereas I got lucky with Olivia, and she had paint pens. The day that I got some Avatar autographs and all the actors had paint pens, that was the day where I was like, I'm going to start bringing paint pens, because they just stand out so much nicer in the collection. I'm so much happier with everything I've had signed in paint pen, and I'm never going to go to a con without a paint pen ever again. So, that is where I'm at on the topic. When it comes to the superior writing implement, I think the paint pen is the way to go on basically anything that you could get signed. And the Sharpie marker, who cares? So this is the way to go. I like a good paint pen. You can get some good deals on paint pens. These 5 packs of Sharpies are $16 at Joann Fabrics, and you can usually find a good coupon for 40% off of your purchase or of a single item. That's where I like to get a lot of my paint pens. You can also just go to Walmart and get them. You can get some more specialty things like these Deco Color premium metallic paint pens. You can find some of these at Walmart, some of them at craft stores, but there are options out there. You don't have to just go the Sharpie rainbow route. They make Sharpie black paint pens, but even then, at least it's bold and solid, and I just think that that's the way to go for a lot of these. So that's where I'm at. Thank you guys for watching another Hybrids Con Tips. I'll catch you next time. Until then, may the Force be with each and every one of you, and goodbye.